Key with the first question of the day. Howdy, Uncle Brad. My aunt was denied her green card after her I-601 appeal. She was told to leave the country within 30 days. They say she lied on her visa application. Can anything be done to fix this? Yes. When the immigration office tells you to leave, it is as worthwhile as this piece of paper telling you to leave. It's a worthless piece of paper. Leave the country in 30 days. Nothing, no power to make you leave. Now, if immigration puts you in deportation and a federal immigration judge tells you to leave, well, that has the power of law enforcement, and law enforcement can now force you to get deported. So that hasn't happened yet. And just because her adjustment and waiver was denied doesn't mean she can't do it again. So my advice would be, before she gets put in deportation, let's file a new adjustment application with a new waiver, and let's do a better job. You can keep filing the same case over and over and over and over again until you get it done right. The only thing that would be not smart is to file the same case over and over again and do it exactly the same way. You want to do it better this time. Maybe switch lawyers, find more evidence to prove your hardship. But let's do a better job and let's get it filed again. Hi, my case is a special immigrant juvenile. I got an RFE, which is a request for further evidence. It's been 11 months, no response yet. And we did e-request. We got a letter that they transferred my case to another office. Any idea? What should I do? I think you should give me a call. I have no idea what the RFE was for. I don't know if you did your case right or wrong. I don't know what they were asking for. I don't know whether you're entitled to the special immigrant juvenile. So until I know whether you are qualified and you did everything right, I can't comment on why it's been 11 months. So we need to know a lot more information. Yanel 505 says, hi, Brad. I'm going to be traveling abroad soon. However, I was arrested in the past. I don't have a conviction. Years later, I got my green card. Am I going to have a problem entering back to the U.S.? As long as they knew about this arrest when you got your green card, and in fact, you don't have a conviction, enjoy your travels. You'll be absolutely fine. Goddess Warrior, what does it mean when USCIS says your case is at the e-filed processing section? That means that you filed it over the internet and it's somewhere in the USCIS cloud. Shanti Singh, unemployment insurance giving additional federal boost of $300. Is it automatically added to the unemployed benefit? Is this a public charge? Well, unemployment insurance is not a public charge, okay? Because you could be a millionaire and still get unemployment insurance. So it's not a need-based thing. But it's not a public charge, so go collect your unemployment. That's the most important thing I'm getting out of that question. Sash McCoy, I'm doing a petition for my daughter. Our passport got stolen. Is it going to affect her filing? I've been calling my lawyer. No answer. You would have to get a new passport. She needs some passport, some identification to prove she is who she is when she applies for her green card and goes for her interview. As far as the passport stolen, maybe she doesn't have proof of her legal entry. So you got to hope immigration has proof of her legal entry. So it shouldn't be a problem, but you know, it's nice to have the passport, but you definitely need a valid passport to go for the interview. Teddy Crown Pictures. I am from Eritrea and my status is withholding removal and I got married to a green card holder and we have one son. Is there any way to adjust my status? Once that green card holder becomes a citizen, assuming you made a legal entry into America, you can file an I-130 visa petition. You could actually do it now, but you wouldn't be able to make a motion to reopen your deportation case until she becomes a U.S. citizen, because you wouldn't be eligible to adjust married to a lawful resident. So file an I-130 now or wait until your wife becomes a citizen, get the I-130 approved, and then try to file a motion to reopen your case. BG65. I have a juvenile delinquency felony. Will that affect citizenship? You either have a juvenile delinquency or you have a felony. There is no, I have a juvenile delinquency felony. A juvenile delinquency is that they have adjudicated you a juvenile, so they're not giving you a criminal record. If you have a felony, they're saying you have a criminal record. So first we got to figure out, do you have a juvenile delinquency or do you have a felony? And then we can figure it out from there. But the answer is yes, because either one, it's still moral character issues. And if you have a felony, a criminal felony, obviously that could make you deportable as well. Denise Finley with a question. Hi, Brad. I'm in the F4 category. My daughter is now 22 years old, waiting for the interview. Is she still safe from Jamaica? Depends on how long the I-130 took to get approved. If the I-130 took 5-6 years to get approved, she's safe. If the I-130 took 3 days to get approved, she's not safe. There's something under the Child Status Protection Act. So we got to figure out, the first step to figure out if she's safe or not is how long was the I-130 pending. You then take the time the I-130 was pending, it was the F4, so it was either your brother or your sister filed for you. From the day it was filed to the day it was approved, let's say it was 3 years, you get to add that on to your daughter's birthday, so then she would have till 25, assuming she paid her fees at the National Visa Center within 1 year of being requested to do so. So it depends on how long in each particular case that I-130 took to get approved. Oscar Manzo, can I still get the job that applied for if I answer no to the question, are you authorized to work in the U.S. and will you need sponsorship? You're asking me if an employer is going to hire you. I don't have the slightest idea. Did you have a good interview? Did they like you? I don't know. And then they got to consider whether or not they want to hire somebody who's not in legal status. That's a whole other thing. How would I know whether you're going to get the job or not? Never give up with a question. Hello, Mr. Brad. Thank you for your great, amazing work. I'm into adjustment for my green card. My wife and I have domestic violence. She was the aggressor and she was arrested. She called USCIS to withdraw. Well, then at that point, you need to file a VAWA case if she was arrested for a domestic violence. And then when you go for your interview for the adjustment, hopefully the case is not withdrawn, but if it is, then you'll file a new adjustment application. Either way, you'll get a green card. And give us a call if you have a problem. Ashwani Pandey. Hello, Brad. My I-45 case is still pending for interview. Can I travel to India for 20 days on my advance parole? Yes, you can. Enjoy your trip. Does a new VAWA denial affect in any way an already existing asylum case still waiting for the asylum interview? No, it doesn't. So if your VAWA was denied, you still have your pending asylum case going. How long does it take to get an I-130 approved, married to a U.S. citizen wife? The priority date is October 7th, 2019. You're 1 year into it. It should be approved momentarily. You're about 1 year into it. So hopefully, within a couple of weeks, a month or two, but it should get approved momentarily. My stepson has his 10-year green card as of September 2020. Will he have an issue getting his citizenship if he's currently collecting SNAP and Medicaid? How old can a child be if a citizen father filed for their child? If they file the paperwork before they're 21, but years past, what happens? Those are three separate questions. First of all, for citizenship, it doesn't matter whether you collect SNAP or Medicaid. There is no public charge provisions for filing for citizenship. So he will be fine. The second question, how old can a child be if a citizen father files for their child? The child could be at any age, but if the child is under 21 and the U.S. citizen father files for them, they remain under 21 for life. So they're in a much faster category than if the father filed for them after the age of 21. So let's say the father filed for them at 20 years, 364 days. That child is still an immediate relative under the Child Status Protection Act, and it shouldn't take more than a couple of months. They're immediately eligible for their green card. Lovey Lima Tango. My friend is married. She got her first green card, but her husband thinks the marriage is not working. Will it affect her stay in the country? What steps can she take if he divorces her? Nobody says you have to stay in an unhappy marriage. If you got your conditional green card and your spouse divorces you, as long as you can prove that you and your spouse live together in a bona fide loving marriage. And what's a bona fide loving marriage? You live together in the same house and you had a financial relationship. You had a bank account, you did your taxes together. Financial relationship, you live together, and then husband starts a divorce or your spouse starts a divorce. As long as you can prove that you had that bona fide relationship up to the divorce and you already have your 2-year green card, let him divorce you. Why be unhappy? Why stay somewhere just for a green card? You can get divorced. You can file to remove the conditions on your own. And all you have to do is walk into immigration and say, here's my divorce. And after we got my green card, it was a real loving marriage. Here's proof. Here's proof of our financial relationship. And here's proof that we live together. So she will be fine. So you're saying, what steps should she do? Make sure she saves or she has in a safe place all of the documents that she needs to prove that her and her husband lived together and had a financial relationship, including pictures and bank statements and things like that. Soli Jelani. I married to a U.S. citizen from 2 years, but we didn't file yet because she is not making enough money, and also we don't have a sponsor for us. Please advise on that. Got to find the sponsor, and hopefully she gets a better job. There's no way around the poverty guidelines. You just got to figure it out. There's 300+ million Americans in the United States of America. Somebody's got to like you enough who makes a decent living to give you an affidavit of support, or your wife needs to find a better job. There's no way around poverty guidelines for getting a green card. How long could it take for a VAWA approval after deportation who has a toddler son? I'm almost 2 years outside to get back to the USA. It could take 2-3 years, maybe longer, maybe 4 years. After the VAWA is approved, you still need to do a 212 waiver to return. I would suggest if you're waiting all this time, maybe you want to give us a call.